As always, if you have any fitness or health questions, you can throw them in the comments. I'll get to them as I see them pop up here. While we wait for everyone to get a chance to pop on, I want to talk about momentum, primarily in the sense of accomplishment, and primarily for like us, and talking about pursuit of your different health, wellness, life goals, things of that nature. Um, it can be a challenge for a lot of people when you hear about, how much the recommended amount of time working out is per week, how many fruits and vegetables you're supposed to eat per day, how much water you're supposed to drink, how much sleep you're supposed to get. And if you're way, way off from where that ideal is, one, it can feel like a pretty daunting task to take on for a lot of people, which from an aspect of momentum, we kind of get stuck in our own inertia of, well, that's like so different than where I'm at now. Like, I don't even feel like even being able to try to do it because it's so far away. I don't think I can get there. So we kind of work on the momentum of inertia where we're kind of stuck because we, from perception, the ideal is so far away, it would take an act of God to get us in line with that from where things are right now in our lives. The other aspect of that is you see all those recommendations, so you start setting those as your goal, but we're down here right now on what we're doing. So trying to go from here to here, I'm going to start my program on Monday and I'm going to do this, this, and this, but right now I've been doing this. It becomes a challenge because what happens is this is a big change. So we don't necessarily get there, but because we're focused on here and we only got here, we get really, really frustrated and we start beating ourselves up, and that negative talk starts taking over in our head when in reality, like, you moved your bar from here to here in a week, which is awesome. That's a huge accomplishment. So one of the things that we coach on is to shift those perspectives, set reasonable tiered goals. Like, do we want to ultimately get up here? Maybe, maybe not. But we don't go from here to here in a week. We want to start building up and stacking one win after another, so it's easier to get here. And so what I mean by that, if you're not working out at all on a regular weekly basis, and starting with a trainer right now for whatever reason may not be realistically within your means, you can still start doing some form of movement, some form of exercise, but maybe you don't start for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Instead, let's start with 2 days a week, and make those happen. Um, One of the biggest challenges that I've seen for a lot of people from a coaching perspective is just simply getting ready and getting in that mindset of, okay, I'm going to do my workout now, is the biggest obstacle. It's not the workout itself, it's just getting there and showing up for it and being ready to go. So even though you only gave yourself that, like, oh, it's just 5 minutes, once you've gone through the whole changing out of your work clothes, going outside for the walk or over to the park or wherever it is you decided you were going to do your exercise, maybe it was at home, with an at home workout. Once you get into it and you've made that initiation, the momentum to go past that 5 minute commitment is very easy. Um, Once you're there and in it, it's just getting started can be the biggest hiccup. But the problem is again, going back to our first example of that physical mental inertia of, oh, I've got to do this much, but I'm only right here. It makes it even harder to break into it. Whereas you say, well, it's just 5 minutes. I'm just going to go out, walk 2.5 minutes from the house, and walk 2.5 minutes back, and then I'm done. Once you've gotten into it, it's a lot easier to add more time to that. I hope that makes sense for everyone. It's just about building on easy, tangible successes, setting goals that are realistic and reasonable to achieve now for you, not the ideal pentultimate. This is where I want to get to somewhere down the line. If you don't have those tiered progress markers, it can be very hard to see success, recognize success, and be motivated to keep going. It instead becomes very easy to start saying, like, well, I want to be here, but I'm still only here. And doing this is really, really hard. And I'm not here yet. I'm frustrated. I'm challenged. I'm not here yet. And then we get in that F it attitude, and now we've stopped all pursuit whatsoever. When in reality, what you didn't recognize when you're trying to get to here, you still made it to here. Like, this is a big accomplishment, and you need to be able to give yourself credit for it. And the easiest way to do that is setting up small incremental tiered goals to give yourself that momentum of success and accomplishment and achievement, so you can then keep moving forward and have that motivational drive to be like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this now. I've got this now. I went from, no exercise to I'm doing 30 minutes a week. Maybe it's only, 10 minutes 3 times a week, but that's still 30 more minutes than what you were doing when you started. That's a huge move forward for anyone. And just to give you guys a little aspect of how impactful those little changes can be. I can't remember the specific group that did it, but there was a study where they did a test on people who were doing no workouts. They added 30 minutes in weight training. That was it. And then they tracked their health over time. The people who added the 30 minutes of weight training had a 20% decrease in all mortality causes compared to the people who just stayed not doing anything. So a little bit goes a long way when it comes to this stuff. This is the reason why exercise, proper nutrition are always the mainstay when it comes to improving your health and wellness. There's always going to be a lot of fads, a lot of new things, supplements, drugs, procedures, whatever. But there are so many other parts that diet and exercise play into physical well-being that those other things just don't always hit for you. So don't underestimate how far away a little bit goes in seeing the changes and seeing your success to help build on that momentum. And that's the biggest thing. Creating big lifestyle changes are hard. So even though you do want to have something big, make sure you're setting those small incremental goals that you can see, recognize, and celebrate success. It makes it easier to get to that ultimate win. I've seen it time and time again um, working with clients, just starting small, building up. And the difference with this is what I call process versus outcome goals. Most goals, when people come in, they have an outcome in mind. They want to lose 20 pounds. They want to fit into, this size of dress. I want to look good for the beach vacation that I've got. Those are all outcome results. If you don't set incremental process successes, it's harder to get to that outcome. And that's the biggest spot. I see it in coaching for clients. I see it in sports with different little league teams and things that I've worked with. You've got to have the process and the outcome goals paired together, not just that outcome, because otherwise you have nothing realistic to measure against. And the problem is sometimes those outcome goals can cause frustration if we don't have a process goal success to kind of fall back on recognizing. Going back to our topic last week on that negativity bias, where it's easier for our subconscious mind to catch and latch on to negative events rather than positive events. I hope all that helped everyone. Just remember to focus on things that are realistic for you to achieve. I don't see any other questions come up here, so hope everyone has another wonderful week. Remember to be consistent in your pursuit of better health. Have a wonderful day.